welcome to Talking Town. This week we are looking at our League One observations, our League One season preview, and I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend that is known as Graeme Mac, voice of BBC Radio Suffolk. Graeme, thank you for joining us. Shame you couldn't join us live this evening. Tell me, how long have you been doing the Radio Suffolk commentary?
I think this is the start of my 11th season or my 10th season. No, I think it's my 11th. So yeah, long old time. First season was Roy Keane's final one. So I got used to the whole sacking of a manager within just a few months of the job. Then it happened again, not so long after, with Paul Jewell. Then we got that steady period with Mick McCarthy. But no, very, very, very eventful every single season. And already this season, we're only 2 games in, and we've had all the emotions as people that follow Ipswich Town. Really good start, so you can't help but get a little bit carried away. Oh, Freddie Sears has got 2 goals, clean sheet against another League One side, and then great, he's picked the same team almost for the trophy game. And then you come away from that thinking, oh, but hang on, that was one of the strongest teams in it, and it's lost. Where does that leave us ahead of Sunday? So just a typical week, all the emotions following Ipswich Town.
Yeah, you walked away almost wishing you hadn't been the strongest team.
Yeah, exactly.
This week. Especially when you've got a couple of injuries coming out of it as well. And already, not even the end of September, and we're picking up injuries, or we're coming into the season with injuries. Injuries always play a key role at Ipswich Town. Do you feel, players like Vincent Young, etc., missing them is huge?
I think any team in League One, were they to have Kane Vincent Young in their squad and he was to be injured for a period, and at Ipswich Town, sadly, it's been an extended period, would miss him. In the short kind of period that he played last season, what was it, 9 or 10 games? I think he proved himself as one of the best players in the division, certainly the best right back in the division. Great going forward. A huge loss. It was one of kind of many bits of bad luck that Ipswich Town had last season. I'm not saying that their poor finish was all down to bad luck. We know that there were other factors involved as well. But yeah, he was a huge loss. I think he'll be a big loss for the period he's out for this season. I can't see him coming back anytime soon. That said, second best right back for me at the club, started in that position in the last 2 games, Luke Chambers. I don't think he did a bad job at all, particularly against Bristol Rovers last Saturday.
No, he really didn't. And I find I found the reluctance over the last couple of years to moving back there when we've needed it to be a bit strange, because as you say, he is the second best right back at the club, and he was involved in a championship playoff campaign, semi-final campaign, where he was playing at right back. So he can do a decent job there, and of course he chips in with goals. As media, how do you guys look on Twitter sometimes? Because obviously, as you kind of mentioned in your opening gambit there, that Paul Lambert, he's been sacked about 5 times on Twitter in the last 2 weeks, and we've not even started the season. So how do you guys in the media look on that and think, what do you draw upon the sort of town mood at the moment?
Well, it's a huge season for him. Social media, like the right people have their opinions. We'll come back to Lambert in a minute, but David Cornell has been getting a lot of stick, and a lot of people saying, why on earth did we need another goalkeeper? Look, he's joined the club. He's here. He's an Ipswich Town player. He's barely touched the ball for them yet. Support him. With Paul Lambert, it's obviously very different. He's been here, for a period of time. Some people, hold him solely responsible for the shenanigans that went on last season. You have to kind of keep an eye on it, but also take certain comments with a pinch of salt. We also, recommend texts and calls to us on BBC Radio Suffolk on certain match days after the game. There's so many emotions. Yourself as a supporter, all football supporters, you're not happy at all when your team doesn't do well, and emotions come to the fore immediately. Yeah, you have to take some things with a pinch of salt, but at the same time, I think that swingometer of everyone loves him, he's putting money behind the bar, he's speaking to Ipswich Town legends, that has kind of worn off now, and it's time for him to really forget that. He could put 10 grand behind the bar this season when the fan zone does reopen, but it's not good enough now. It's all about results.
Yeah, absolutely. It's go time. And I think recent sort of news articles coming out of the club and the way he's now perhaps treating players in terms of really hands on and need to earn this, need to earn that, etc. Maybe his mindset has changed a little bit and it's now more go time, and it's now do or die, really, isn't it? As you're saying, because last season was last season. 11th place is not good enough for Ipswich Town, and some of that sort of goodwill has worn off. David Cornell is an interesting one you mentioned there, because I did a piece with the Talking Northampton podcast, and I went into that piece wanting to get, because I wasn't quite sure on the goalkeeper. I know fans weren't quite sure on the goalkeeper, but so I had a great idea. Let's interview someone from Northampton Town, and surely they're going to say what a great goalkeeper he is, what a great guy you're getting. So I went into it thinking this is going to be quite a nice little PR, spin, and we can say, look, even the guys from Northampton say he's a good goalkeeper. And then he went, when I asked him the question, do you think it'll be a good number one for Ipswich? He went, no. And my face just dropped live on camera, and I was like, this isn't going to be the interview I thought it was going to be. So in the end, I think I might have fueled that a little bit, what you were saying there, really inadvertently.
Blimey. David Cornell's
the
Christmas card list.
It was. Yeah, I tried to do it.
You tried to be nice to him and it backfired. I see him. I mean, he's coming. I wouldn't pick him at this stage ahead of Thomas Holy. And I thought that, Thomas Holy started the season very well last season and kind of find himself out of the team at the expense of Will Norris all too quickly for me. I see him as the number one, Cornell as the backup. A lot of people are saying, well, Perziabek's there. I think Bert White's just signed this new deal. You've got Harry Wright, who's gone out on loan, so there's plenty of other keepers. But hey, say Wright or Perziabek were to come in if Holy was injured, and for whatever reason they weren't up with it, people would then be saying, we should have bought another goalkeeper in the summer transfer window. He's here. Get behind him, give him a chance. Like I say, he's barely touched the ball. All he's had to do is pick the ball out the back of the net twice now.
Do or die. It's one of those. I think you're right. It's one of those things, isn't it? If you do, you're damned. If you don't, you're damned. Especially at the moment, as we've mentioned at the start with Paul Lambert, some of the fans not liking him at the moment. He can't do right for doing wrong. He could bring in anybody, and I think some people would find a fault with it because of it's Paul Lambert, and he's sort of the person they don't like. And he has to earn some of the fans' trust back. Me personally, I'm still a Paul Lambert fan. I have been since the day he arrived. I've sat on your show many times and said I'm a Paul Lambert fan. I'm going to sit here and say again, Manager of the Year.
Has it not been tempered a little by the last 12, 18 months? No, not at all.
A little bit. Last time we spoke, a little bit. I felt I was speaking to Darren McAnthony in the last week or two, and I said to him what I say to you what I said to him. If I come into this season here, where am I going to go as a football fan? So if I come in up here, at the very least, I'm optimistic, I'm excited, I'm ready for it, let's do it. If I come in miserable, not wanting it, not liking it, it's going to be a long, long 6 months. He is here. Should he have gone after the season last year? Maybe, maybe not. That's not my decision to make. That's Marcus Evans. He's made it, but he's made it. And once he's made it, you've kind of got to say, right, he's made it. Let's get on with it. And I said in the podcast recently, I come in with a clean slate, but not a blank mind. I still remember last year, and there's still bits of it that that irk me, and I don't like it. But surely, you've got to come into it with a bit of optimism, haven't you?
Definitely, yeah. That's what the start of the season is all about. Trying to be optimistic and ready and getting behind the team. And after Saturday, that optimism went sky high, didn't it? I saw some tweets from Ipswich Rich after goal one. He put 100 goals, 100 points after the second goal, 200 goals, 200 points, and so on. It was a really good performance, like we said at the start there. Perhaps the team selection, which was kind of what I think most fans wanted, maybe a strong team and a bit of continuity going into the Arsenal game, has backfired somewhat. And all of a sudden, there is. I think there's always pressure on your opening league game, anyway, particularly when it's at home and off the back of such a poor season and not necessarily the best pre-season as well. I know he made a lot of changes for the the Cambridge United game, but still it was obviously a disappointing result to go into the competitive fixtures with. There's a little bit more pressure on Sunday now off the back of Tuesday night, I would suggest.
Yeah, absolutely. Pressure for sort of team selection, pressure for results. Obviously, he went for maybe a higher class of opposition than we're used to at pre-season level on more than one occasion. Sort of West Ham and Tottenham. Normally, you only play one of those teams, not two of them. So it was quite good.
From what I saw of Tottenham as well, Tottenham wasn't bad at all. I didn't see much of the West Ham game, if I'm truly honest, but I watched all of the Tottenham game. Obviously, disastrous start, and Tottenham at 3-0 probably did take their foot off the pedal a little bit. But Town did not in any way disgrace themselves. Particularly in the final hour of the game, and Freddie Sears went close on occasions in the second half.
He's looked really lively pre-season, but it wasn't a great start. And I think I did tweet out, and I did say, once you go a couple of goals down, it's how you react, even in pre-season. And if they had down tools a little bit, you'd have been maybe concerned about things behind the scenes, especially after the week or two before and after, but they didn't. They stuck to the task. They worked hard. They appeared to be a team working really hard. But obviously, imagine my dismay a week after I've tried to do this lovely interview for David Cornell, and it's not quite gone that way. Imagine my dismay when he gives the ball away. And of course, my work is then being requoted and retweeted, and they did just like, oh no. But never mind. So obviously, Downs and Jackson are the two players that are looking like they may be going. May not be going. Obviously I'm not asking for any inside information, but what do you think about Downs and Jackson possibly leaving? Do you think Town could do okay without them both? Do you think they'll stay? What's your gut feeling on the whole matter?
Let's look at Flynn Downs first of all. A little bit like what we were talking about with Kane Vincent-Young and his injury. Were Flynn Downs to be in any League One side and they were to lose him to another club, he would be a huge loss. I think in the last 12 to 18 months, Flynn Downs has become heads and shoulders Ipswich Town's best midfielder. And they have a lot of really good, talented midfielders. Some have got a lot of experience. Some have got a lot of promise that they get to maybe show it on a consistent basis, but that the talent's there. Flynn Downs he's got pretty much everything for me. And he would be a big loss. That said, every player, you hear this a lot, don't you? Every player has their price, and it's going to be very difficult for Ipswich Town were the next couple of weeks a bid of say 4 million plus, even 4 million. If that money was on the table and the players handed in a transfer request and actually gone to the manager not so long ago to say, look, my head's not right. I'm maybe not right to play this game. That's really interesting. That surprised me. I thought Flynn would have been on the team sheet for the opening day and would have just. But the fact that I got out there, I think was tough for Ipswich Town and Paul Lambert having to probably answer questions that he didn't want to. I think 4 million plus. You've got to think if Ipswich Town, if they start badly, we get to, let's hope they don't. They get to January, they get to the end of next season. All of a sudden, they might be looking at 1.5, 2 million. Right, we'll have to take that now for Flynn Downs when they could have got 4 million. It's a difficult conundrum, I think, for Ipswich Town now on that front. And were Town to lose them for £4 million plus, while yes, it's going to be a shame to not have that talent in your squad, I think they'd probably accept it, and I don't think fans could complain too much. Caden Jackson, it surprises me that it's Bournemouth is being linked to. Reports suggesting that Bournemouth have actually bidded for the player. That surprises me, given that Bournemouth were in the Premier League just a few months ago, and Caden Jackson hasn't proved himself at League One level. He scored goals at League Two level. Now he's going to be part of a Championship squad, perhaps. That surprises me. Were Caden Jackson to move on, as much as he's a good professional, I don't think it would be the biggest loss in the world. That said, I do think Town are very thin in the striker department. You're looking at Freddie Sears, not the best injury record over the last couple of seasons, but if he can have a fully fit season, I think Freddie Sears can be top goal scorer this season for Ipswich Town. James Norwood, double figures last season, but yet to see the best of him. Injury record not great over the last 12 months. Something happens to either Sears or Norwood, heaven forbid, and Caden Jackson's not there as backup. You're looking very thin. Aaron Drinan, Ollie Hawkins didn't score at all for Portsmouth last season. Yes, we're hearing that he could offer something different for Ipswich Town, but he needs goals. Ipswich Town need goals. Jack Lancaster coming back as well. I think they could do with, and this is regardless of whether Jackson were to move on or to stay, I still think Ipswich Town they need a proven goal scorer to come in and kind of bolster that area of the pitch.
Thank you.
Midfielders, they can afford to lose 1, 2, possibly 3. Paul Lambert's talked about potentially trimming this squad, and he can lose a few names there. At the back, I kind of think they're doing okay, and they've got decent cover. Not sure about losing anyone in that department, but they can't afford to lose a striker. And were Jackson to move on, were anyone to move on, they've got to bring in 1, maybe 2.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree with you. I know it's a lovely fairy tale story starting Aaron Drinan this weekend, but I think if his name had been replaced with a previous striker's name who's no longer at the club, I think fans would be saying there's no ambition at the club if we're going into a league campaign with our only recognisable fit striker being a guy who hasn't scored a League One goal. He's looked lively, don't get me wrong, but he should be somebody who's complementing strikers, not necessarily being your focal point. But if you give him the baton, Aaron Drinan, run with it by all means. But I do agree with you there. We need another goal scorer for sure. And I'd love nothing more than to eat humble pie or crow or whatever about Aaron Drinan coming into the team and smashing it and being that guy. I think Marcus Evans could actually come out of this with some really good PR, because fans have known they're going to lose Flynn Downs, but it's how much you lose him for.
Yeah.
And if it looks like Marcus Evans has really stayed firm and got a valuation in mind and stuck to it, because it's gone from 8 to 4 already, but fans haven't really blinked at that. Haven't blinked at all at that. But if we get 4, as you're alluding to there, then the PR from Marcus Evans will be brilliant, because you've stuck firm. You've got a good price for a player we all knew was leaving, and the first bid was 1 million. Well done. So this could be actually the first transfer. Marcus Evans kind of comes out with some really good PR for selling a player instead of holding on to him, because I think everyone admits Flynn Downs is probably going to go. Losing Flynn Downs, as you say, is from that midfield number. I'm not saying him as a player, but as a number, it's not that bad of a deal, because you've got numerous numbers in that midfield. You could list 3 to play in there and still have 4 left that could easily start a League One team. I'm thinking like midfield on Tuesday, Dozell, Bishop, Nolan. You've still got Hughes, who would probably walk into half the League One teams. Yeah. So there are numbers there. But if you had to sort of list a 1 to 11 for Sunday, who would you like to see? Who would you expect to see? So obviously you've said Holy in goal.
Yeah. Is everyone? Can I have everybody fully fit here? Do you just want my town 11? I'll do an 11 fully fit, and I'll do an 11 for Sunday.
Tell me. Yeah. Love that. Go for it.
Fully fit. Thomas Holy in goal. Back 4. Kane Vincent-Young, Luke Wolfenden, Luke Chambers, Stephen Ward. Now the midfield. Downs, if he's here. If he isn't, Cole Skews with Dozell, Bishop. And I'm not going 4-3-3. I'm going 4-3. I'm doing a FIFA formation. I'm doing 4-3-1-2. I've got Alan. I've been playing a lot of FIFA. Got Alan Judge just behind Freddie Sears and James Norwood. Now, what's going to happen? That team's just going to look totally different this weekend. I've not sketched down a potential team for this Sunday, but yeah, Holy in goal. So the back 4, Chambers at right back, the Wolf, Nsiala, Oran, Dabba, question marks over both their fitness at the moment. So might we even see Janoy Danassian at right back and Luke Chambers shifted over to the middle? Stephen Ward will start at left back, I would have thought. The midfield, I don't think he'll change much in terms of, be Nolan, Bishop and Dozell once more. Judge, Sears and one other up front. Aaron Drinan did very little wrong for me against Bristol Rovers, which was the more important game of the 2. He's talked about having that continuity this season, so I think that's what he'll go with.
Are we going with the Drinan or is it Drinan? Because I've heard so many different people. I know Brenner was going with Drinan, I think, as you have done. Is it Drinan? Is it, or because I've gone with Drinan, and I think a few others have as well.
Well, he came back from the cold. Well, we'd not seen him for 2.5 years, but when he first joined from Waterford back in 2018, is Mick McCarthy signed him, by the way.
And he was raving about him. He was saying what a special talent he was.
Yeah, what a special talent he is. Right, he's off. He's going on loan. At that time, it was Aaron Drinan, so we're consistently sticking with that. I've heard Paul Lambert say both in the last couple of weeks. So just choose one. Say it confidently, Drinan.
Drinham. So yeah, I love that team, by the way, and I love the fact you've been playing FIFA all through lockdown. That's brilliant. Out of the squad, who do you think will be Ipswich Town's Player of the Year?
If he stays, I'm not going to say Cole Skewes. No. Why don't you want me to say Cole Skewes?
I want to be a realistic option.
That's harsh on Cole. Right. Okay. If he stays, Flynn Downs. If he stays fit, Kane Vincent-Young. But realistically, Freddie Sears. If neither of the above, Freddie Sears.
Wow, big shot.
I'm completely carried away with 2 goals for Freddie Sears on the opening day. Can't you tell?
Are you riding that wave of emotion up there, aren't you? You're currently just, you're not keeping it level. You're riding that Freddie Sears wave of a.
I am, and I'm really trying hard to forget about Tuesday night because I was ecstatic after last weekend, and it's been checked a little bit. But yeah, no, Freddie Sears, I think his injury record's not been great. I'm holding on to the fact that all his bad luck has hopefully run out, and it's time for him to have some good luck. A lot of people have said, well, Town haven't got an established striker at League One level yet because James Norwood only did it for a period, then he was injured. Caden Jackson hasn't done it yet. I would argue that they have got an established goal scorer at Championship level because Freddie, when he first came, was red hot up front alongside Darryl Murphy when David McGoldrick got injured. I'm backing him to shine. No pressure, Freddie.
Do you see him playing a central role this year, or do you see him playing more the way we saw him against Bristol Rovers? So I think Paul Lambert sees him more of a left option. But where do you think he sees him?
I think he's better in a 2 up front alongside a big man, a target man. But he will play where Paul Lambert has played him. I don't think Paul Lambert's really going to change much from 4-3-3. Certainly in the coming weeks. If he does start tinkering about with formations in the coming months, you will know that the start of the season has gone wrong. But I think he'll try and be more consistent. And yeah, we'll see Freddie where we've seen him, which isn't a bad thing. I think he can play anywhere across that line. He'll always do a job. But hopefully those 2 goals on the opening day have helped.
Yeah. Oh, a big shot of confidence to him. Yeah. And hopefully, as you say, his injuries are well in the past. He can be a player that makes a difference at this level. I think fans sometimes forget the Championship years with Freddie and what he brought.
It's so long ago, wasn't it? I mean, that was so... Yeah. That really good spell that he had. Did he join it? It was around 2014, 2015. Really, really good spell. He was he's a big part of that team that got to the playoffs. Really was.
He really came in from Colchester in January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And really delivered some goals. I'm not quite sure I see him in the 2 anymore, the same way you yourself does. Primarily just because I think injuries may have taken a yard of pace off him. And maybe he's best served out wide on the left where he can come inside and he can jinx past a fullback or exploit some space from a fullback looking to go forward too often. But he's a good player without a shadow of a doubt. We've got an abundance of young players coming through. Maybe some are not quite ready, like Brett McGavin, who are yet to really emerge and announce themselves. But who do you see out of the current crop sort of being that young player of the year, if you like?
Am I allowed at this point to say Andre Dazelle, who's only 20 years of age and still
he seems like he's been around forever?
He has been around forever. Andre Dazelle has been around forever, but he's still only 20. And while he has been around forever, he's not had a consistent run in the team yet. I'm tipping him. This is surely, come on, Andre, this has got to be his breakthrough season. And because he's only 20, I've got him down. Other than that, if you want me to kind of pick someone that might potentially come through, and we saw glimpses of him last year as well, and I think he's got a lot to offer, and he's already attracted Premier League interest as well. Armando Dobra, just loved him in the trophy games last season. I was listening back to the match with Tottenham's under-21s, putting together a montage ahead of the Tuesday programme against Arsenal's under-21s, and Dobra that night, and Jordan Roberts up front. The two players that kind of appeared in all the commentary clips were Dobra and Roberts. Dobra unavailable on the night. Roberts no longer here. Dobra, but I want my definitive answer to be Andre Dazelle. Still only 20 years of age. Still yet to do it for me on a consistent basis, and injuries have played their part in that. But I think and I'm hoping that this could be a big season for Andre.
You can have Dozell. That's fine. Why do you see it being his year? What have you seen so far to hang your hat on that as a prediction?
I've seen him play back-to-back games at the start of the season in the team and not do a lot wrong. There's question marks over with Flynn Downs potentially not being about that midfield being lightweight, and Nolan being kind of the stronger of the three if Bishop and Dazelle line up. And I think their injury records play a part in that. I just think he's in the team now. I'm tipping him to go on a run. He's clearly very, very talented. He plays balls that other midfielders at the club can't do. And as we've discussed previously, that there are some very, very good midfielders at the club. It's his time, and it's got to happen for him this year, because I think his time at Ipswich Town might sadly just come to a really, really disappointing end if it doesn't happen for him this season. And we could sadly see him moving on. We talked about potential fees for Flynn Downs and how there's a little bit of a conundrum with that. And Marcus Evans might potentially come out of that with some good PR. He could come out with some very poor PR, were Dazelle to move on the cheap and then inevitably go somewhere else and play a blinder. And that's the other annoying thing about the Flynn Downs move is that you just know that even if Marcus Evans does get 4 or 5, who knows, 6 million for Flynn Downs, you know that in about 12 months, 18 months, he's going to go somewhere for 25, 30 million, don't you?
Yeah, of course. And sadly, while we remain a League One club, that's forever going to be the situation. I feel. I agree with you in some respect. I do think actually the one person to really lose from Flynn Downs going will be Andre Dozell, because if a midfield player needs someone like Downs next to them, I think it's Dozell. Just because Downs does a lot of the, I'll call it grunt work, a lot of the hard,
the dirty stuff.
Yeah, the side to side, the up and down, the real sort of engine that allows someone like Dozell to just play football and spray those passes. And we've got to remember that Dozell was a player that Liverpool wanted a couple of years ago, or were interested in a couple of years ago. So there's definitely talent there. Because if a club like Liverpool even showing remote interest in you, there's talent there. And I think even the town fans that maybe are not high on Andre, if they're sitting here in a year's time and he's had a really good year, they'll be delighted, because I think everybody really is rooting for him, whether they openly say he should play or not. I've someone who's perhaps said he shouldn't be starting, so I've not seen enough from him yet to really nail down a place.
I've not seen enough from him either. When he first came into the team, that everybody's raving about him. You'd have thought he was like the best midfielder ever, and I kind of saw it in patches. He had that really good game. What was the start of the season when he got injured?
Birmingham.
Was it Birmingham?
Well, yeah, Birmingham or Fulham, wasn't it? One of the two.
First 45 minutes, absolutely bossed it. And I was watching that thinking, I get it. I get what he's all about. And then it all of a sudden
we all were.
Came to a horrific end. And we've not seen a lot of him since, sadly. No. Look, fully fit. He's played the first 2. Keep him in. Let's see what he's all about, and fingers crossed it can be his year. Were Downs to move on, you mentioned how you can benefit playing alongside a midfielder like that. I know Cole Scoos probably doesn't get as up and down as much as you might like, but Andre would certainly benefit, I think, from an extended period in the team alongside somebody like him as well. And he, against Bristol Rovers, with neither in the team, Nolan and Bishop alongside him, it was okay. You've got other players in there that you can perhaps thrive off as well. The likes of Alan Judge. He's got plenty of encouragement behind him now as well, not just with the leadership qualities of Luke Chambers, but Stephen Ward as well. So
yes, definitely with Wardy. Big. It wasn't my first choice to replace Luke Garbutt, but he's certainly impressed me over the last couple of games, and I'm really glad he's on our side. That's for sure. Because I think he's a really good acquisition. Now I've seen him actually play in a blue shirt. Top goal scorer though. Who if Jackson goes, who's going to get your goals? Who's going to be the Ipswich Town top goal scorer this year?
I'm going to say Freddie again.
Freddie Sears. Whoa, Freddie Sears, love it. This season
is all about Freddie Sears and Andre Dozell.
Freddie Sears revenge tour.
Yeah, I'm not just saying that because of the opening day. If you line all Town's forwards up against each other and they're all fully fit, Freddie Sears for me is heads and shoulders above the others in terms of his professionalism, his attitude, but also more importantly than that, his ability.
Fair play. Well, fair play. That's your opinion. Okay, fine. Yeah, surprised at that one. I thought you'd say James Norwood. I really did.
No. I think James got a lot to offer, but still, that was a injuries didn't help him either. How many times have we been talking about injuries? But
too many.
Yeah, I think he's still got more. He's still got more to do for me. I don't want to say James Norwood has perhaps reached his ceiling. Hopefully, he can go beyond that, and he can be the guy that will get 20 plus goals this season. But I think Freddie Sears fully fit throughout an entire campaign definitely can.
I'm hanging my hat on the fact that James Norwood might have played last year with one groin. So if you can get that many goals with one
Very
groin,
true. Yeah.
Imagine what you can do with two. But who knows? As you say, a lot to offer, but also a lot to prove. Where will Town finish this year, Graham? That's the big question. Obviously, last year disappointment. One bad month cost us about 10 league places. I say that tongue in cheek, of course. Where will Ipswich Town finish?
Somewhere in the playoffs.
Somewhere in the playoffs.
Somewhere in the playoffs. Can I say that? Can I say somewhere between third and sixth?
Oh, okay. In your world, are we just creeping in, or are we comfortably inside the top six the whole season, and we finish somewhere between third and sixth? But we're comfortable the whole way.
It's going to be one of those seasons. I think they're just creeping in.
Oh, I'm happy with that, because if you creep in,
you've got momentum going into perfect, isn't it? It's a perfect situation.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I've not got them down as top two. I just think other teams are stronger, and other teams are kind of ended. I know last season was ended in these kind of unique circumstances, but other teams just have a lot more momentum and kind of know where they're going a little bit more than Ipswich Town do. But I think we could be in for well, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping we're in for a rollercoaster season where they do just about sneak into the playoffs. But I wouldn't have them. I don't have them as top two material just yet. Ask me again in a couple of months, and hopefully I am saying that, and I'm not saying they'll be lucky to finish in the top half.
Well, I wonder if I'd asked you before Arsenal, or if Arsenal had been the comfortable result it might have been in the first half, what you may have said then.
I'm pretty confident I'd have said the same thing. They'll just about sneak into the playoffs.
Fair enough. Top one, 100 points, 100 goals, manager of the year.
Who's going to finish top of the league?
No, that's me. That's me. 100 points,
that's what you're right.
Manager of the year.
100 points, 100 goals. Brilliant. Good.
Why not? Why not? Tell me why not.
I'll back you. I hope that comes true. really do. I hope he is manager of the year. I hope they're top. It would be absolutely brilliant.
And again, I've been putting a pound bet on Town to win the league every year since I was old enough to bet. So that will tell you how successful I've been. I'm now 31 this year.
Okay.
And I still live in a 3-bedroom house. Anyway, dark horses for League One this season. Who do you see as being a surprise package? You can't have Peterborough because they can't be a surprise.
No, definitely not. No, you can't have Peterborough. You can't have Sunderland. I don't think. You can't have Sunderland. And I don't think you can say.
You can't have
I spoke to Walker yesterday. John Walk. He's back in Hull. I just don't see it with Hull. I don't see Hull. See Hull getting in the top 6.
You can't have Lincoln.
You can have Lincoln.
You can't.
Why not?
Because you'll know you've got ties to Lincoln. So that's going to be a cop-out. I can see it coming a mile away.
I've not got Lincoln. I've written down a few names. Now, I don't think I can have one of these as well. So I'll do that one first. Oxford. You can't. Oxford can't be dark horses for the league, can they? Because they were in the... Exactly. So you can't have them. But I think Matty Taylor, getting him, he was excellent for them on loan last season, getting him in, massive signing. I think they'll be up there again. So dark horses, we're going to the Lancashire coast. We're going to have Fleetwood, and we're going to have Blackpool. Blackpool have lost Nangelay, which I think is a big loss.
Yes,
but I think Neil Critchley potentially has a lot to offer as manager. But I'm gonna, if I have to pick one of those, I'm going to say Fleetwood. I think Joey Barton was kind of box office. Well, he's mainly for the wrong reasons. But I can't wait for Fleetwood versus Charlton. And if Lee Bowyer is still there, Bowyer and Barton head-to-head on the touchline. But no, Fleetwood, I think Joey Barton's got a lot about him as manager. I think they punched above their weight last season. And typically on what was it, Tuesday night, 2-0 down to a Wigan side who I think will probably ultimately struggle this season.
Really?
Come back, win 3-2. I've got Fleetwood as dark horses to win the league.
To win the league?
To win League One. Yeah, that was the question, wasn't it? Dark horses for the league.
Well, I was thinking more like, creeping into the playoffs sort of dark horse.
I did dark horse.
I wasn't going
for
for the whole jugular.
Dark horse for the title, yeah.
Wow.
I think Peterborough probably favourites, aren't they? But we've already established that we can't have them. We can't have Peterborough, we can't have Sunderland, so I'm going to go for Fleetwood.
Wow, to win the whole division.
Yeah.
Oh God, Joey Barton. He'll be.
How smug will he be? How awful will he be?
That's the word I was looking for. Wasn't sure about legal ramifications. Smug, yes, smug is the word. And
quite rightly, he would be though. If he won the league, he's got every right to be smug and take Fleetwood into the championship.
And I can already see the Eddie Hearn out of context gifs ready for Bowyer versus Barton. I can already see him a mile away because that's going to be Sky box office as you say. Wow, Fleetwood. So So you thought Blackpool might win the whole division?
Blackpool are just another team. I think that a lot of people might not expect to have a good season, and I think they started really well under Simon Grayson last season. Or they had a period where everyone started talking about them as potential playoff contenders from the outside, and then it went horribly wrong for Simon Grayson again, sadly, and he parted ways. I think although I mentioned him, Armand Angelo was a really good player for them, very important player last season. They've lost him. But I still think they could be. I'm not tipping them to go up, but I think they'll have a good season. They'll just be on the fringes.
Wow, fair play. And what about our visitors at the weekend? Wigan, obviously a club that's in a bit of turmoil. Some people are saying the game might not even go ahead because certain things haven't been done or what have you. On paper, though, this is a very different squad to, say, the Bolton situation of a year ago. What do you expect from Wigan? Not only on Sunday, but this year as a whole?
I think they will. I don't think they'll go down or anything, but I think they'll struggle. I think they'll find it tough. I see John Sheridan's being linked with the hot seat there. Yeah. What was the last time he managed in England was a few years ago. Not that makes a great deal, but no, I think it'll be I don't like using that word, transitional season. But I think the best they can hope for maybe is, if they can get into the top 10, that would be an excellent achievement for them this season. I think it's not a bad time to play them at all if the game does go ahead. And I think they'll find a going tough between now and Christmas. And if John Sheridan does come in, he's got his work cut out really. Yeah, no, yeah.
I just look at their squad though on paper, and I still see a lot of quality. Yeah, and it's They on paper they look a decent side, but
they finished reasonably well, also, didn't they?
They smashed Hull, didn't they?
Was it 7-0 at half time in that game?
Yes.
So I mean, they've lost a few, but they've got although they've got absolutely no momentum whatsoever off the pitch, they've got a little bit of it still on it. But I can't see them challenging the top 6 this season. That's going to come back to haunt me, isn't it? As is Fleetwood, undoubtedly. I'm just looking at your reaction to Fleetwood, and I can still see in your head you're still thinking about you're going to turn this camera off and be like, Fleetwood.
I can't believe it. When you were saying Fleetwood, I was thinking for the playoffs. I mean, they're in the playoffs they were going to be in the playoffs last year, so that's not really a dark horse, Graham. But I'll let it go. And then you said title,
yeah.
Madness, man. What are they putting in the water at Radio Suffolk? Title.
That's I wrote down the question, dark horse for the league, so I just assumed you meant title. So there you go.
But that's even more of a shock.
It's my left field tip.
Oxford seems more reasonable now.
Yeah.
Wow, fair play. But anyway, thank you for joining me. It's been a real pleasure sitting down and having a conversation about Ipswich Town with you. Tell the good folks at home where they can normally hear you, see you, and get your views.
You can hear me on a couple of occasions during the week on BBC Radio Suffolk. So I host the Thursday Night Sports Social, which you've been a part of on a number of occasions. Great show, Martin, and we're an hour longer than previous. The one positive that came out of COVID, I shouldn't say that really, is that we got an extra hour of sport on a Thursday night on BBC Suffolk. So we're on air from 6 till 10. It's Ipswich Town talk during the football season between 6 and 7. We have a non-league hour. Just for Suffolk's non-league clubs between 8 and 9, and lots of really nice sports stories from around the county as well. Match days, usual hours are 2 till 6 on a Saturday for 3 o'clock kickoffs. This Sunday, it's a little different. We're on air from 11. It's a midday kickoff, obviously, Town versus Wigan. And you're welcome to share your thoughts with us, tweet us, text us, join Mick Mills, Darren Ambrose, whoever, summarise them for the phone in as well.
Yep, and I absolutely encourage all Town fans to do that. Go to Radio Suffolk, listen to the fantastic commentary, give Graeme your thoughts, and then come to me and give me your real thoughts. No, I'm joking. Yeah. Give Graeme the thoughts.
Go to Martin and say, what was he thinking about with Fleetwood, that guy?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, because in my show you can throw a few expletives in. So go to yours for the PG, and then come and give your expletives to me. That's what Rich does. I'm sure of it. But no, I really enjoy your shows, and that extra hour on a Thursday is designed just to get me on more, isn't it? I think.
100%. That's it's the Martin hour. Yeah, that's
perfect. Oh, I like that. The Martin hour.
Yeah.
I've even got an whole hour. How exciting! Brilliant. But no, honestly, thank you for joining me, Graeme. It's been a real pleasure, and I look forward to hearing you through the season, and hopefully having you on throughout the year to give you more Town thoughts, and obviously hold you to account for the Freddie Sears and Fleetwood shout.
Yeah, for the huge mistakes I've made in the last 25 minutes. No, really good to catch up. Good to see you, and best of luck Ipswich Town for the forthcoming season. Let's hope it's a good one for all the tractor boys and girls.